Welcome to Attenuation, a podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on social media for more fun content. So without further ado, here is the latest episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast.
Hello, and welcome to episode 109 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
It's been a long time, sir.
Yeah, I got nervous about what I had to say.
Well,
like, I got it.
You nailed it.
Hello.
You're an expert.
We're back.
We're back. What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to do a deep dive on a brewery that actually got more and more interesting the more I read about it. This is a brewery that actually kind of wasn't really on my radar for a while, except until like maybe the last few years. But this is Side Project Brewing from, I think, technically Maplewood, Missouri. It's the St. Louis area. So we're going to talk about them, how they got their start, and some of the beers they make and stuff. So I'm pretty excited. It's a cool story.
Yeah, I'm really pumped to dive into it. I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't really know about this brewery because they're very well lauded.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things too, and like we're not in that area. Yeah. And we're both into craft beer, but there's also this like other like sort of, I don't know what it even is, like sort of this underworld of craft beer and more of the like musing on Reddit, and I don't know. I don't. There are different levels of.
There's levels. Yeah.
I think we're pretty high, but there's definitely a few other levels above us, and that's where it really got going, and then it finally makes its way down to like, Firestone Walker Beer Festival, and starting to hit get some more mainstream press and action. So.
Gotcha. So that's
where we are.
That I don't know. Yeah.
It takes a while to get down to us, a little while at least.
Well, it'd be cool to do the deep dive. But before we get to that, we do a couple segments first. And the first segment is the drink and beer segment, the whole reason we do the podcast. So the way this works is I introduce my beer, give nose notes, and then Steven introduces his beer, and then we do tasting notes. Let's see. Ooh, I'm ill prepared. I don't even have my bottle opener, but I can talk about my beer and then I'll grab it. I'm going to drink Firestone's 27th anniversary ale. So I'm pretty excited. I've had a couple different years of these. Basically, the way it works is they invite their friends over and they blend a bunch of their beers together and then they all taste it. And the one they like the most becomes the anniversary blend. So let me grab a glass and let me open this, and then I'll give you my tasting notes.
Okay. I almost forgot mine, too, but I got it.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, we got to get the audio of the popping the beer. Oh, it didn't even really make a big noise.
Ah, it was good.
And, of course, I forgot to take this out of the fridge, so it's super cold. But we'll let it warm up. Oh, so it's got a little bit of head. It kind of looks like Coca-Cola. It's kind of brown. Ooh, it smells like barley wine, like right away. And I think I should double-check the formulation, but I think they
I was gonna say, didn't they have a letter?
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't come in here. I have the box, but no letter. Usually it comes with like a letter and says,
yeah, it's like a whole breakdown, right?
Dude, they're cutting back.
Yeah,
cutting costs. I'll look on the internet and while you're doing your notes. But yeah, I would like a really strong barley wine smell. So like caramel, fig, a little bit of like plum, vanilla, coffee, and bourbon. And a little maybe like dark chocolate. I think this is going to be a good one. So what are you drinking today, Steven?
Okay, cool. Well, this is actually a really cool combo because we're talking about Side Project today, and we'll talk much more about them, of course, later in the episode. But two big things about them is they make a lot of Saisons. They also a big emphasis on blending for them, like blending different beers together and stuff. So you got the blending beer, and I got the Saison.
Nice.
Now, we know, or anyone who listens to the podcast knows, I don't like Saisons.
I don't either.
I still have yet to meet a Saison I actually like. Although I will say, probably my favorite Saison ever was a Side Project Saison that I had at Firestone Walker. This, however, is a dark Saison. The name is Sordid Nature. It's from Roughhouse Brewing. They're just outside of Austin, Texas. I posted a reel about another beer I drank from them called the Cave Ship, which was they found a cave on their property, and
I saw that.
Yeah, so they found an entrance to this cave, and then they kind of started digging it out, and it ended up being like an 18 by 20 foot room in this cave, and so they decided like, hey, let's age our beer in this cave. So
cool.
Yeah, so they do like a cool ship beer that they then age in barrels in the cave, and that's their Cave Ship beer. So anyway, it's a really cool brewery. They focus a lot on farmhouse beers and wild ale. So when I was there, I actually got a taste of this. He let me sample it on draft before I bought it, and I did like it. Obviously, it was a little taster, so I didn't get a full experience, but I really liked what I tasted, so I was like, yeah, give me a bottle. So this is a dark Saison. I guess all that really means is like a Saison yeast, dark malts, of course, so should be really interesting. 8.8%. Definitely a dark malt nose, kind of a porter nose, like a light chocolate nose with almost like a hint of citrus to it, like a chocolate orange.
Oh, cool.
Maybe a tiny bit of coffee roast in there, but it's pretty subtle. It's got a huge head on it, by the way.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like there's this very bright citrus and pine to it, melding into this chocolate and roast. So it's going to be a kind of a two worlds kind of thing going on here.
Okay.
So we'll see how it shakes out with the sourness level and stuff. So
interesting.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Okay. I looked up the blend, Steven.
Okay.
And it's really long. I'm not going to read it all, but there is Barleywine in it. But
okay.
But I want to tell you, the podcast magic is real.
Okay.
13% of the beer I'm drinking right now is from Rip This Joint, which is an Imperial Stout that was a collaboration with Side Project. There you go. So technically, I'm drinking a beer, 13% of which is a collab. So we'll call it 6.5% of this beer is from Side Project. Okay, so my tasting.
Of course.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that. So it was the perfect pick. So, okay, it's caramel, fig, bourbon, and coconut. It's very Barleywine, like on the entrance. And then I guess I will mention the majority of it, 33%, is an Imperial Special Bitter that was fermented in oak barrels. So very strange. This is a strange blend. And let's see. So caramel, fig, bourbon, and coconut develops into sweet chocolate and black coffee. And then the finish is like bitter, sweet chocolate. Kind of. It's like kind of bitter and spicy in the finish. So I really like it. I think it's going to get better as it warms up because it's still quite cold.
Dang, that sounds really good.
Yeah, so this is good. I'll definitely give it a thumbs up, and I'll check back in as it warms up.
Nice. Yeah, I think I drank the 25th anniversary, and it was pretty mind-blowing. So yeah, I'm sure it never misses. Okay, so mine's pretty interesting, as you might expect. It's so weird. So it kind of starts off, like I said, citrus. So like a tangerine, maybe some lemon as like your first sip. And you definitely get some funk. And it's mildly sour, but not like, not to our level. And then it sort of runs into this coffee roast finish, but there's still this citrus sweetness that stays on your lips. Mouthfeel's really light, very much like a dark lager mouthfeel. It's very porter-like also, but with that orange and lemon kind of sweetness, sourness to it. It's super weird. I mean, I don't really like it.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's okay. This is not anything I would ever drink again, but
gotcha.
Might be my second favorite Saison of all time.
That's really funny.
Because I'll probably actually drink this. Like I'll finish it. Most Saisons I don't finish.
Yeah, I try to drink them. maybe that's what I'll work on next, but I also don't love that style.
Yeah, the like coffee, a little maybe some chocolate. There really isn't that much chocolate in there. It's very like orangey coffee, a little bit more chocolate in the nose, but like all those things are saving it. Like it is drinkable. It just has that like weird citrusy undertones, and I don't really like the Christmassy chocolate orange thing. You could that foil wrapped chocolate that would like fall into pieces. I always hated that. I don't really like fruit in my chocolate in general.
Okay. And that's basically what this beer is doing.
Yeah, it's like fruity chocolate.
Yeah.
Fruity coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee can have some like fruity notes to it too, but I don't know. This is just it's weird. It's a weird fusion. Fusions are kind of cool sometimes, but this is a weird fusion.
They're hard to pull off oftentimes. The last fusion beer I drank was like a sour Imperial Stout from your neck of the woods. Gosh, it was from Jester King.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I hated it.
Yeah. So I will say, actually, I'm a big sort of dark sour fan. Okay. Right? Like, especially, Leffel-y, like sour browns and Nightmare on Brett we just talked about recently because it came up on Tabor. But those are sour. If this was very sour, if this was like puckeringly sour, I actually would probably like it.
Gotcha.
Because it would pull it in, like it would pull you into something. It would like, I don't know, maybe connect it a little better. It just like seems so disconnected because it's like this weird sort of orangey sweetness, but I don't know. It's like it almost comes across as a little bit of floor cleaner coming out of there. I don't know. It's very strange.
Oh, okay. So it's not a thumbs up.
Not getting a thumbs up today, but I really liked their Cave Ship. I really liked that beer. So
okay. Well, fair enough.
They're 1 for 2.
1 for 2. Hey, that's not bad. You're batting 500.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, 1 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. Not the worst, not the best. So the next segment we have is postscripts where we fix things from previous episodes. I don't think we have any today. And then beer news, which I do think we have.
We do have some interesting beer news topics. I mean, we've been off for a while.
Yeah, a long time.
And I feel like probably a lot has happened. I will say, like in general, there is this super strange feeling around craft beer world. Are you feeling that?
Yeah, I actually have a I have a story time with Jason after your news.
Okay.
About crap, and I think it'll be relevant to what you're about to say, but I'm not going to step on your news. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, so there's still a lot of strange things going on with like brewery closures and brewery acquisitions and stuff like that. So Modern Times, we've talked about them previously. They got bought by Maui Brewing. They kind of became this brewery Ohana or some craft Ohana or something like that. It was like a family of breweries owned by Maui. And with the sale of Modern Times, so a little backstory on this. Modern Times, they like sold some shares of their stock when they were trying to like save themselves. And anyway, at the time they valuated themselves at like $260 million or something. Maui bought them for like $10 million. So they way overvaluated. Fire sale, Maui got them on a fire sale. But one of the things Maui got was this production facility in San Diego. Well, I guess it was a kind of a lemon. It was very poorly maintained, and it just was. They were having tons of interruptions in production because of this facility. So Maui's like, we got to just shut this down. So they are shutting down a production facility and tap room in San Diego. They're going to contract brew with AleSmith.
Okay.
For now, they have they at some point I think they had 8 tap rooms along like all throughout California. I think they have only 3 now, and all those are going to stay open. And they've said that they want to reopen some or open new ones at some point. But they're shutting down their bottle membership. It was huge for a while. The stuff you get from Modern Times in their exclusive bottle membership, their bottle society, was pretty awesome.
Well, do you remember we tried some of their beers first time we went to Great America Beer Fest? I still have them in my Untapped. That's when I was using Untapped like right in the beginning, then I stopped for like 5 years. But yeah, they made some insane stuff. They had like it was called like I still remember what it's called. It was like called like Megalodon Teeth. They had some Imperial Stout, barrel aged. It was incredible. So they used to make some really awesome stuff.
Yeah, I had their Vanilla Monster Park, I think it's called.
Okay.
Like that. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
This was I was like at an event where they were pouring a bunch of really cool barrel aged stuff, and that was, I think, probably my favorite out of all of them. It was really good. So they make good beer. It was, my thing with Modern Times is that the best beer they made was never the readily available stuff. But yeah, they've shut that down, which was like a big deal in terms of like still having a sort of underworld craft beer following.
Mm-hmm.
Now that that's gone, that's kind of like who really cares about Modern Times at this point?
I know, it's sad.
If they're not going to make their special stuff anymore, apparently they are really going to focus on their just rotational stuff.
Well, that makes. I mean, yeah, they got to survive or whatever. Yeah.
Special. So that's a little bit of beer news there with the Modern Times shutting that down. There's another one with Tilray. So Tilray is a cannabis company for the most part, but they have been buying up craft beer like Monopoly or something. They're just buying up whoever will sell to them. They're buying breweries back from some like big beer conglomerate acquisitions. So like they bought 10 Barrel back from Anheuser-Busch. That was about a year ago, and they did a whole celebration thing that they were back to independent and no longer owned by Anheuser-Busch. And the moral of the story really is that like Tilray is a publicly traded company. And
yeah,
they're not the white knight that you necessarily expect. But one of their positions, because they're so cannabis driven, what most people think is that they're buying up all these craft breweries because at some point they really think cannabis is going to be federally legal. And at that point, they're just going to already have these recognized brands and established distribution areas where they can start putting out their cannabis-infused beer, cannabis-infused drinks, whatever, sparkling water, that kind of. There's like a kind of an emerging market for that, CBD drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
THC-infused drinks. So I think they're just trying to position themselves to be the leader in that market when it's more universally legal. So we'll see.
Yeah,
so
that's interesting.
Kind of an interesting storyline to follow with Tilray's acquisition of craft breweries. And then
so if we get federal legalization, we'll see it'll be like a hazy IPA that also has THC in it. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Huge market right now. Or an emerging market for sure.
Yeah.
And then I just came across this cool thing. So we're going to Chicago next week. We have we have this list of I think 9 or 10 breweries we're trying to hit.
Oh, we're supposed to spend some of our evening not recording and finalizing our plans. But yeah, we have a very ambitious Excel spreadsheet that I've created.
So because of that, I've been very much looking at these products, these like hangover prevention, hangover remedy products and stuff. So, but I came across this one called Z-Biotics, and I thought what was most interesting is most of the products out there are like herbal supplements trying to support the liver and increase the liver's ability to metabolize alcohol and that kind of stuff. But this came at it at a different angle. So the liver is fairly decent at metabolizing alcohol, and the most harmful byproduct, which is acetaldehyde, it can break it down pretty well. But some of the acetaldehyde is actually in the gut, which is some of what causes the problem. And they figured, well, let's just take a probiotic that we know survives the stomach acid, gets to the gut, and let's just genetically modify it to produce this enzyme that will break down acetaldehyde. So that's what they did. So you drink this probiotic a couple hours before you start drinking, colonizes a little bit into the early part of the bowels and helps with alcohol metabolism, fewer side effects, fewer hangover side effects. And it doesn't change your microbiome. It's not enough to really establish a huge colony. So it's about effective for a day or two. But
what if I want it to permanently reside in my gut?
That I think it might be hard. I think they actually specifically sort of engineered this as a bacteria that wouldn't establish a huge colony.
Sure. So I'll deal with the other side effects actually if I can just never have a hangover again. Yeah.
That's in their best business interest to not
That's true. You have to re-drink it. Yeah.
You got to keep drinking it every time you drink. But in these situations where you know you're gonna go hard
Go
for
hard.
3 days,
Yeah.
it's not a terrible idea to just do a shot of that every morning while you're on a trip. So we'll see, but it's pretty expensive. It's
Yeah,
about
we were looking at it.
$10, so it'd be basically $10 a day.
Sure.
To like do one each day over this 3 days. So I don't know.
Probably worth.
Not like if you think about it, it's probably worth it. If it helps you feel any better.
Especially because like we really don't want to catch a hangover because we have 3 days planned of drinking, so we gotta. You don't want to wake up after that first day and be like, I can't continue.
Yeah, you're like, come on, we got 2 more days to get through. So
yeah, but.
We gotta be. We do have to do the good. We have to be really good at like getting flights and probably getting flights of like different beers so that we can kind of like
small taste.
Try 10 things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're just going for experiencing a lot. Shallow.
I'm super excited
not
though.
Super deep. Yeah. We're going to I think the driver of the trip too was like I've been pestering Steven for so long to go to New Glarus because. You can't buy their beer outside of Wisconsin. They have one of my favorite beers. We'll see. I haven't had it for probably a decade, but the Belgian Red, which is.
You know what's so funny is that everyone I like mentioned this to that like knows craft beer. Yeah. They're like, oh, you're gonna bring back a bunch of Spotted Cow.
So I really want to try Spotted Cow because that's the one everyone talks about.
I mean, I'm gonna drink it, but I'm probably gonna bring back a bunch of Belgian Red.
I know, and it's actually funny. I just saw a post about this on the beer subreddit. It's a picture of someone's trunk and they're like my New Glarus haul. And it was like clear that they lived in a state that's close, but they don't live in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I can't find it now. But there was another beer that they were all like, oh, you should have bought more of this. It might be their Pilsner. So I'm super excited. I think
it like Moon something?
Moon Man.
Moon Man. Yeah.
So I'm excited because I've never had.
Man and Spotted Cow are the ones people like keep mentioning.
Yeah, those are the ones that people keep saying. So we gotta drink. We're definitely gonna try
Belgian
those
Red.
too.
Hello.
Yeah, we'll try all 3, and then whatever else they have on tap, and decide what's the best.
I'm fascinated by them also because they do not open on the weekends anymore. I guess their parking situation is just very precarious and it's very small. And they just couldn't handle having.
Oh wow.
People come to the brewery on the weekends. Or in the evening. They're open like 10 to 5 Monday through Friday.
I know.
So it's super interesting kind of like, we'll just like go there and kind of drink, but mostly just buy a bunch of beer. I feel like that it's more like you kind of go and just sort of do, they have like a actual tour, but like a guided tour, but there's also like a self-guided tour, which we decided that was probably best anyway, because
for some reason, their tour is booked out, and we planned this trip like months ago. I was pretty disappointed, but it's 3 hours. I don't care who you are. I don't want to go on a 3-hour tour. So
we know how beer is made.
Yeah, I don't. What can they possibly talk about for 3 hours? We did book a tour at Goose Island, and I just discovered that Goose Island sells a bunch of their old bottles, dating all the way back to 2014. So I already have 2 that we're going to buy, Steven. I don't think you're allowed to drink them there, but we'll buy them and take them home. It's some of the old proprietor blends.
Yeah. Which is awesome because those are the ones we can't get.
The only you can get, yeah. So we're basically going to Chicago and New Glarus to buy beer that you can't get anywhere else and bring it back. And my wife was like, how are you going to get it back? And I was like, I have a Tabor box coming on Saturday, and the way their boxes are amazing. So I'm just gonna put that in like a carry-on.
I saved my last insert.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I'm literally gonna bring like an extra empty suitcase. So.
Yep, and then I'm gonna bring duct tape. Just because I'm gonna duct tape all the caps down. I don't know if it makes a difference, and I've never had a beer explode in a flight, but.
No, me neither.
Extra.
Well, I will say I took a bunch of Yingling back to California one time, and it was crazy. It was like one of the bottles, it didn't seem like it had been opened. Cap was still on, but it was almost empty, and the like towel that I had it wrapped in was wet. Like it leaked out somehow, but cap didn't open enough to even like it still like popped off. Like you had to pop it off. It was very strange. Yeah.
Super weird.
But just one bottle was like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I've always had really good experiences flying beer.
Yeah, we've done a lot of flying beer around. It's been fun. So, all right. Well, I can share I have a similar.
Yeah. What's the story you got?
Well, I just go to a local craft beer place. It's not even a craft beer place. There's a number of, and maybe this is common everywhere, but for whatever reason in the Sacramento area, there's a number of quick marts, kind of like 7-Elevens, or that just carry really good beer. One of them is Pacific Market, and then I forgot the name of the other one, but and then we have bottle shops too as well. But some of these like gas station-esque or like 7-Eleven-esque, they get the best stuff. The Pacific Market always gets Heady Topper, Focal Banger, like twice a year. But I was just talking to the guy that owns the other one, and he just said like prices are going up, so everything's getting really expensive. So like 4-packs are north of $25 now. They're like $26. He has to sell them for like $26. Some of the like Moonraker and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, people just aren't buying it. I don't know. It's just, I think it's gonna, we still haven't seen the numbers for this year, but because I think we looked last year and there's like more breweries than ever, but I feel like the retraction is coming. And I'm not worried about craft beer. It's like $1 billion industry, multiple billions, but I do think there's going to be like a culling.
Yeah. Well, this is what I see. I go to the grocery store, and my local grocery store has like a pretty good
Beer
mix
selection.
they're pretty good beer selection. But there is a ton of stuff that just does not move.
Oh, it just says
It
there.
doesn't move. It doesn't move. It won't move. It can't move. It's these like 4-packs of like, breweries that maybe I am aware of, but they're not like very established. Like, oh, when you see that, like you got to grab it.
Yeah.
And they're again, saying $25, $26 for a 4-pack. Mm-hmm. First of all, I don't want a 4-pack of anything, and I certainly don't want to pay $26 for a 4-pack of something I might not like. And so, crazy thing, so Weldworks just started distributing it to Texas a couple weeks ago. They sent out 3 beers. They sent out Juicy Bits, a root beer float stout, and some sort of like just tropical sour or something. Or no, it was a strawberry daiquiri sour or something like that. And I went to, I've been kind of searching for this. I went to my beer shop. They were out of it. They had the 2. They had the stout and the sour, but Juicy Bits was gone. Finally, I just been kind of just looking every time I go to the grocery store. And all of a sudden, I saw the strawberry daiquiri sour. Oh, nice. And I was like, wait, hold on. Do they have Juicy Bits? And then I found one last 4-pack at the bottom of the shelf. So Juicy Bits is moving.
Yeah.
Right. There are beers that will move. Pseudo Sue and King Sue, when they restock that and get fresh of that, it usually moves pretty quickly too.
Sure.
So there's beers on the shelf that will move, but this like run of the mill, like brown ale from a local brewery, like it's not moving. It's not moving. So I don't understand. I don't know. Like I want a nice selection of like good craft beer and local craft beer on my shelf, but the only stuff that's going to move is the stuff that's like really standing out.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially like a 4-pack of Juicy Bits and it wasn't even, it was actually like maybe $18.
Oh, nice.
Like I'm going to buy a 4-pack of Juicy Bits for $18. Yeah. Like I'm going to drink all of those. I'm going to know. For the most part, I like to drink new stuff and novel stuff just because I have a social media account and try to keep it fresh and all that stuff. But I'm going to buy a 4-pack of Juicy Bits to put in my fridge.
It's like when I see contains no juice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the last beer I bought a 4-pack of. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like there's so much stuff that's just not moving. And it blows my mind. My grocery store gets like fairly good mix of like Pint House beers. But like, why would I buy Pint House at the grocery store? A 4-pack of like Electric Jellyfish.
Yeah.
It's like if you look at the date, it's like a month or 2 old.
Just go drink it on tap.
I'm just gonna or go get it out of the fridge at the brewery. If I'm
super fresh.
So there's just stuff like that. I just don't. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna see. I mean, I obviously don't want people to go out of business, but I think it oversaturated, and then I do worry that like everything is like cyclical, and I don't know if the younger generation is into craft beer.
No, they're not. I mean, as evidenced by the crazy amount of non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
And innovation in that space. That is mind-blowing to me.
It's mind-blowing. Yeah, it makes no sense.
You want to drink beer, but with no alcohol in it.
That makes me feel so old.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're taking the best part of it out.
What are kids doing these days?
Yeah.
I mean, you and I, we've talked about how sometimes, like, especially at a beer festival, you kind of wish You
Yeah,
didn't
you could
have
turn
that
off.
aspect.
Yeah.
You could turn off the like inebriation aspect of it because there are things you're trying to taste, but it's still pretty fun. Like towards the end of a session of the beer festival, when you're all of a sudden talking to strangers or something.
Social lubricant, yeah.
And I never talk to strangers except for towards the end of a session of a beer festival.
There you go.
I'll be the funnest guy in Chicago this week.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun. Yeah, so T-minus 1 week. Maybe we'll try to record an episode, like a short one, while we're there.
Yeah, we can always do it after and just do a recap.
Yeah, talk about our favorites. But okay, should we get to the main topic?
Yeah, I guess we should get there.
Yeah, we're like, we haven't recorded a long time, so we gotta talk. It's a side project.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because the name actually is what it is.
Yeah,
it's just a side project. So I don't know. Do you want to talk a little bit? What do you got?
Why don't you take the point and I have some stuff to fill in if you. I have some interesting tidbits. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, so a little history. There is a pretty well-known brewery in St. Louis called Perennial Artisan Ales. They started in 2011. They were started by a guy named Phil Waymore. He brought on this guy named Corey King as a brewer. Corey King's history was that he was a chemistry major, initially wanted to be a pharmacist, did spend some time working at a pharmacy, hated it, like don't want to do that. So he finished his degree in chemistry and then decided to go get his MBA. So he has business masters, and then him and his wife both had jobs in the wine industry and sort of alcohol distribution sector, and they were working in that industry. And he was doing a little bit of home brewing, but mostly his background was wine. But he was doing some beer home brewing, and he was pretty good at it. This was his thing, right? Chemistry was his thing, and it was very natural to him. And he liked to do sort of fun, experimental stuff. So he was brought on as a brewer with Perennial Artisan Ales with not that much professional brewing experience. Really, he was just a home brewer. But they really liked his stuff, and they brought him on. He brought a few homebrew recipes with him, one of which became Perennial Artisan Ales Abraxas, which is a really, really well-known beer, very storied beer, an ancho chili stout, right?
Yeah, and you told me it's like one of my favorite styles. It's really funny because you texted me that, and I was like, what? Because I didn't know the origin of that beer. Because it comes in a Abraxas, it comes in a barrel-aged and a non-barrel-aged version, and I've had both. The barrel-aged is something special. I have a personal story about drinking that, but
yeah, we'll get to that. So, but a pretty cool.
That was his homebrew recipe. That's insane.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome that this guy, very good at brewing beer, and then one of the other things is a little backstory on Phil Wymore, the founder of Perennial. He started at Goose Island.
Oh, very cool.
And then went to Half Acre and then started Perennial. So one of the things about that whole time period, like 2010s to 2015, a lot of that was happening, probably even before that, but a lot of that was happening within the beer industry, right? You start somewhere and you move on to a different place, or or you start your own brewery, that kind of stuff. So that was very normal for the time. And not like, these weren't villains like leaving this brewery to go start your own. There was not a lot of that, like no hard feelings,
Yeah.
That was just the nature of the industry. So Phil Wymore, after a few years, realized Corey King had a very special gift. Mm-hmm. And he was like, so when am I going to lose you? And so Corey kind of started to think about this whole maybe starting his own brewery. He had kind of thought about it a little bit, wasn't sure. And Phil Wymore, and Corey says Phil was like the best boss in the whole world. Phil says to him, hey, why don't we do this? You like to do this sort of weird experimental stuff, small batch stuff, barrel aged stuff. Mm-hmm. why don't you just contract brew in Perennial? You can keep working for Perennial, normal job, weekends, nights, whatever. You go do your own thing in this, take a little corner of space and do your own thing. Hence the name Side Project. This was his side project he worked on while working at Perennial, and, just invested his own money in this thing to like work on some of these smaller batch experimental barrel aged beers, really focused on saisons, wild fermented Brett beers, spirit barrel aged beers. So, whiskey and rum barrel aged beers, that kind of stuff. And that was 2013. He sold his, I think November 2013, he sold his first beer. And basically a year later, November 2014, they opened their brewery and tap room in Maplewood, Missouri. And that was the story of how Side Project got started. It's really cool that the collaboration between these people, where there was just no competition. It was just, dude, you're awesome. You got to go out on your own. Let me help you get started. Do it here, and you can keep working for me. It's pretty awesome.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah. So that was the start of the Side Project. And what's crazy is that within 5 or 6 years, they became number 2 rated brewery on Untapped in the world.
Yeah.
Really start to gain some notoriety.
Yeah, their list of awards is, I had a summary of it pulled up on one of these tabs, and it's just every year, starting from when they open, they're just winning stuff left and right. It's insane.
And what's really cool, like I mentioned earlier, a huge emphasis on blending.
Yes.
Not just this is the beer, it goes in these barrels, and that's the beer. He's like, I don't want to do that. I want to take beer from this barrel, taste it, blend them together to make an incredible beer. And that's, I think, probably the key to his success, is this ability to put multiple beers from different barrels, different ages, put them together and make these amazing blends.
Yeah, I think he's so there's a job. I'm also into Scotch, and he must be one of these superlative tasters where there's a blend master at every Scotch distillery, and they have all this beer, or not beer, they have all the Scotch in all these barrels that are all different ages, and they have to continuously make a somewhat consistent product. But this stuff is finite, so they're tasting all these casks. So they might have one cask that's incredible that they're blending a little bit into every year, but eventually that cask goes dry. So then you got to try to make the same Scotch, but you don't have this cask anymore. You got to use different casks. So these people, to be able to experience what they taste. When they say a dog's sense of smell is thousands of times better than a human's. That's what's happening with some of these. He must be one of these insane super tasters that can just blend. And yeah, it's so cool. And then
well, you think about it too, a lot of times, I watch these videos of drilling into the barrel and putting, a little bit into a glass and tasting it. It's not carbonated or anything. It's hard to even know what is the final beer going to taste like when you. And it's amazing that they can do that. They can sense a little bit of this, a little bit of that together. It's going to be awesome. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about their tasting room at Side Project. I'm like, Steven, we're going there next after the Chicago trip. Some of the stuff I started to read, I was like, what? So apparently their taps have 4 different temperatures. So when they pour you a beer off the tap, it's whatever he thinks is the right temperature to drink that beer at, which is insane. That level of attention to detail, I'm like, okay, you're speaking my language. For example, my Firestone that I'm drinking, now it's warmed up. Now it's at its optimal temperature. But when they pour you a beer at their tasting room, it's coming out of the tap at optimal temperature. That's just crazy. I don't know of any other brewery that does that, where they have lines at different temperatures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just seems like the level of dedication to the beer they serve there is just on another level. Yeah.
Very cool. This is one of the reasons why I can't drink beer at a non-brewery, like a restaurant or a bar.
Yeah.
Because when I go to a brewery, I assume they're trying to present their beer as best as possible, clean beer lines and stuff. There's no way they're thinking about that at a bar.
No.
So I just have stopped completely drinking beer at like restaurants and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, this is the level I think that I think that these beers demand. You have to have that attention when you're trying to present these really complex blends, and you're really trying to showcase, like, he makes this OWK, which is, I think, a vanilla stout, if I remember right. And when he made it, it was exclusively for the Bottle Club, the Bottle Society. And he put like $10,000 worth of Ugandan vanilla bean. I mean, he spares no expense and puts these like amazing adjuncts, and then of course blends the beers. And then it's really crazy because you'll have BBT, which is beer barrel time. That stout is OWK base, but then blended with multiple different other things. So he's just like constantly creating these beers, and then also creating beers off of those beers by blending them together. So like that's what he does. Pretty incredible.
You know what OWK stands for?
I think it's his son, right?
I think, well, I could be wrong. Some of them are named after his children. I think OWK is Old Whiskey King.
Oh.
And it has...
I thought it was Oscar William King, his first son.
Oh, okay. They are named after his kids, aren't they?
And then NJK is Milo Johnny King, I think, is his second son.
Yeah, I think he has
I think
four
OWK
kids.
and NJK are his sons.
Okay, that makes sense.
From what I know, but...
No, for sure, because I was trying to figure out what all these acronyms stand for, and it's actually kind of hard to find. Yeah, OWK's rating on Untappd, based on 1,500 ratings, is 4.89.
That's stupid. That's impossible.
It's impossible. Yeah.
To hold the rating that high for so long, for over that many reviews, is that's insane.
It's insane.
I watched a couple, in preparation for this, I watched a couple videos of people drinking that beer.
Yeah.
And it was like making me so jealous, because the way they were talking about it, they were like, dude, the vanilla in this stout is just insane.
Well, what did we drink? We drank a couple. So we got...
so we drank Derivation, I think.
Yeah, so we figured out about Side. We're late to the game.
Anabasis? Did we drink Anabasis?
Let me look up what we had. But
yeah, we're so...
we were late to the game, but we just figured out about Side Project when we went to the beer fest, the Firestone Walker Invitational.
Yeah, that was really my first exposure to it. Was the first year I was at the Firestone Invitational. That was by far the longest line, by far. And I guess I got a couple. I got I got a Van Winkle Beer Barrel Time.
Okay.
That first year, and I got some sort of Saison from them. The Saison was amazing. I mean,
okay.
I can't tell you a lot about it, but I just loved the sourness level of it. It was really good. And Van Winkle Beer Barrel Time, I think, was good, but it was so hot. And I think I was pretty tasted out by the time I got to that. It was maybe mid-session or second half of the session when I finally got that. So I wouldn't say I couldn't give you really good tasting notes of it, but it was pretty delicious.
Nice.
But definitely not like the ideal conditions.
No, it's too hot, and you're like already kind of tipsy. We drank, well, at least I had Continuance and Derivation.
Okay, yeah.
And Continuance is like it's kind of like what I'm drinking today. It's like, I'm just looking at their website. The other thing he does is like they'll do blend 1, blend 2, blend 3. They keep making different blends of it. But just blend 1 is referenced here, and it's got 6 things in it, So it's MJK, Anabasis, Omega, Vibes. It's kind of the same thing. Like, it's just like a super blend. Yeah, it's funny because when we were doing research for this episode, I didn't realize like the majority of what they make, like if you go to their website, is actually sour or like wild fermented and Saison and stuff like that. And they make creeks and stuff like that. But for whatever reason in my mind, it was like, oh, they make Imperial stouts. And
oh my God, a Side Project Creek would be so good.
Dude, I know. So they have one on their website right now. Creek Noir du Fenermere. I bet you that's to die for.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they'd use let's see. They aged it in red wine barrels, which I bet it's so good.
Yeah, he does a lot of that too. He does a lot of hybrid wine beer.
Well, just a creek would go so good in red wine barrels. Like Man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what we
he
have to do,
incorporates
Steven?
wine into his beer a lot.
This is what we're gonna do. Because I've been reading a lot. I do think it favors the local scene
Oh,
for
for
whatever
sure.
reason. It
Absolutely.
says, like, I'm reading about it right now. I'm doing this research live, but it talked about they came out with a 10-year anniversary of OWK, and it says it was very quietly released in late January 2023. So that was their 10-year anniversary. So 2028 is going to be their 15-year anniversary. So I
It's so funny
think,
because my friend at work is from St. Louis,
yeah,
and we were talking. He's a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan. I'm a huge
okay,
baseball fan, San Francisco Giants fan, and so we were looking. We were like, let's go. Let's go to
Mhm.
St. Louis and watch a game. Go see a game together. So we looked ahead at next year's schedule. The season's almost over now, but we looked ahead at next year's schedule, and they don't play actually in St. Louis until late in the year. Like I
Yeah,
think September, end of the season again next year. But we're already thinking like, let's go. And then I'm like, yeah, there's a couple breweries I would for sure want to hit, like Perennial
yes.
and Side Project. He's like, oh, I've been to Side Project tons of times. I was
Oh
like,
my
I
gosh.
hate you right now.
But no, hear me out.
So
Right
jealous.
now, put it on the schedule. The last week of January. We got to hedge because we don't know when they'll release it. Let's do first. Let's do, how fast do you think it sells out? Let's do
Are we
second.
taking a trip to St. Louis or what?
Yeah, listen, second week of February 2028. It'll be their 15-year anniversary. And if they follow the release schedule for their 10-year anniversary, that's when they'll quietly release all their 15 anniversaries. We'll drink everything.
You know, it's really funny. I asked my wife one time, how crazy would it be?
Oh
I already
boy,
know
here
the
we go.
answer, but how
Yeah.
crazy would it be if Night to End All Dawns, whatever that releases, right? It's an in-person release. You got to go there.
Yeah.
How crazy would it be for me to like get on a plane, fly to New Jersey,
Okay.
get the beer, and fly home? Like,
Oh, not even drink it.
no, just buy it and come back. I mean,
Hmm. It's
like,
pretty crazy.
it's a little crazy, but like, I wouldn't even have to stay. I could just
That's true. You
Uber
wouldn't have a
there,
hotel cost. I feel
Uber
like
there.
that's something, if you were like
Maybe I got
independently wealthy, you'd pay someone to go do that for you.
no. I want to be there because
You
it's
wanna
just beer
you wanna feel the
in the line.
vibes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. No, I don't want to like have somebody bring it to me. No, that's not fun. But like, I have like points, like Southwest points.
Yeah, it's like a
Come
free
on.
flight.
Yeah, free flight. Pick
I
up the
would
beer,
honestly
fly home.
I would do it.
Right?
What if you could go
Come
to
on.
the
That is what I would do if I was like independently wealthy. I had like tons of money and I had nothing else to do and I wasn't working anymore. That's what I would do. I'd
yeah.
be like, "Where's the cool beer release this weekend? We're going." That's what I would do. I don't want a cool house. I don't want to. That's what I want to do. I
I
want
just
to
want
like
to go to
fly
releases.
to cool beer releases and like do like a European thing too would be cool.
Okay. No, I don't think that's, I mean, it's gonna sound crazy to most people, but
And my wife was like, "Yeah, that's crazy."
I don't think it's that crazy. I'd probably do it.
She's like, "Maybe we could take a vacation as a family somewhere."
Yeah. Bring your children.
No, I just want to fly to New Jersey for the weekend.
No, just me. I would do it for like dark. Well, we gotta go to Dark Lord Day. That's the other thing we gotta do.
But that's the thing. Like, when am I ever gonna drink a Night to End All Dawns? And I love that beer,
Yeah.
but it's like
It's
impossible
so hard to get.
any other way.
Yeah.
A lot of those beers. Oh, and I will say, let me talk about this now that I'm like really feeling it, feeling that 8% of my beer. First of all, Great American Beer Festival is like right around the corner. I think it's a few weeks away. I think.
Yeah, we're not going.
Yeah. But anyway, but my point is they're advertising a ton. Like a ton. Have you seen any of these advertising? Maybe it's focus
Oh.
advertising on me.
No, I
But
don't
like
think so.
all over. Like I saw it on YouTube and Facebook and all over. They have ads for the Great American Beer Festival this year. It's crazy.
Okay.
I looked at the list. Like they have a kind of a preliminary list. And honestly, I'm not that sad about missing it.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, of course, WeldWorks is there.
There's probably some really dope
With some cool
Works beers.
stuff.
Yeah.
There are some good breweries with good stuff, but like, Allagash is cool.
Hmm.
I've had all their stuff.
I know.
Everything they're gonna have there, like Curio and like it's all the same. Firestone usually brings cool stuff, but I get a lot. I've had a lot of their stuff. Logic isn't listed. Super surprising to me.
Okay.
Maybe they're not on the list yet, but Logic is so far not on the list. Toppling Goliath is on the list, which is cool because they're back.
Coming. Yes, they didn't. They took a number of years off, right?
Yeah, but still, it's like Pseudo Sue, King Sue.
Yeah, it's like
a couple other things, and I think there's an assassin. I don't know if it's like what variant of the assassin, but like, okay, like it's cool, but I don't know. There's just nothing that's like really grabbing me. And there's all this non-alcoholic beer that's gonna be there this year, and some other weird stuff. I don't know. It's definitely changing, which I hate. I hate change.
Yes.
And I don't know. Like we've done it quite a few times now, and I think there's cooler things to do, like trips like we're doing to Chicago. And
yeah, it's gonna be fun just to like go to. I really like just going to breweries.
Yeah, I think we need to do North Carolina at some point.
What's in North Carolina?
Burial.
Oh, dude, I'm obsessed with Burial right now.
Burial, Heist. Of course, the big Sierra Nevada.
Oh yeah, Heist.
The big New Belgium in Asheville. And
where's Treehouse?
Fontaflora. Treehouse is Boston. Boston would be another.
Dang. Yeah.
Boston would be another fun one, but
Fontaflora would be really fun.
Yeah, dude, Fontaflora, Burial, Dissolver.
Oh, cool.
Man, Asheville's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. There are so many good breweries in Asheville. It's crazy. So, well, I think Heist is in Raleigh, but yeah, that whole area.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Okay, add it to the docket.
There was a funny post where it was like, where is the Napa
of
craft beer? Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people said Asheville, honestly. My thought would be San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my answer, because it's still ridiculous how many
they have an insane
craft breweries are in San Diego, in like a pretty small geographic area.
Dude, Chicago's pretty good. I'm very excited for the breweries we're gonna hit.
Dude, Chicago's legit, and I just keep I keep finding out more like, oh wait, that brewery's in Chicago too.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So you want to name off the list? What do we got? We got Half Acre we want to hit. Revolution, of course.
Goose Island.
Goose Island, of course. That one actually I'm really excited about, because the history of Goose Island is insane.
I know.
Right? They were putting
They're the first people that made a bourbon barrel-aged stout.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even care if they are owned by a macro company now. It's just so much history.
I got a schedule pulled up. So we're going to hit New Glarus on Friday, because they're not open on the weekend. Then we got to move something to Thursday. I don't know if you looked. I put some notes in our thing, but we're
I haven't looked recently.
Because we have Thursday night. Thursday night we don't have planned. We have you get in at 4, but I get in at 8. So we have.
Yes, no, I do have one to add.
We can hit at least 2 breweries that night. But our list is Hubbard's Cave.
That one is.
Yeah.
That might end up being my favorite.
I'm so excited for Hubbard's Cave. I keep checking their tap list because it keeps changing. It's so good right now. I hope it's
like their sour side. Their sour side. It's
yeah. Illuminated Beer Works. Brew Works, sorry. Goose Island.
Astronaut ice cream.
Yes. Goose Island, which is gonna be awesome. And we're actually gonna do the tour at Goose Island. Revolution Brewing, which I'm super excited for. They have a bunch of good stuff on tap from their Deepwood series. And then Half Acre.
Butcher. Oh yeah, Half Acre.
Hop Butcher. And Off Color. Yeah, Hop Butcher I'm really excited for. I'm excited for all these, but yeah.
Yeah. Off Color should be cool. I'm not super familiar with their beer, but everyone says it's awesome. So it's on a bunch of must-go-to craft breweries in Chicago. So the other ones, the Possibles, Old Irving.
Okay, yeah.
So Old Irving's Beezer IPA won gold at the something, like for a hazy IPA. So kind of want to check that out. Maybe that first night. It's pretty close to where we're staying, I think, actually. So Yeah, Old Irving. Man, it's just crazy. There's so many good breweries.
Well, I have a surprise for you too. I'm still coordinating the details, but my buddy is gonna try to meet us on Thursday night, and he said he will bring us a bottle of Westervelter in 12. He went and he bought
Oh,
like 24
that's
of
like
them.
the weird Abbey one you can only get.
Yeah, it's the number one quad that you can only buy 3 hours a day. Like you have to drive like 2 hours into the mountains and like talk to a monk.
Yes. Yes.
So add that to the list.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
We gotta dial in details, but he said he'd bring us a bottle. So.
Oh my gosh. I'll have to bring some IV fluids.
I know. I was like, dude. I gotta bring something to trade to him for that. I might bring him a bottle of Fundamental Ob. Yeah.
Yeah, you have too many of those.
He doesn't like stouts though. He just likes. I'm like.
I know. I don't buy Belgians, so.
I know that's what he likes is all the Belgian and like Creeks, and I like Creeks, but I don't have anything good in my fridge right now. So we'll see. All right. Well, I don't feel like we gave enough justice to Side Project because I think we just.
Well, I mean, it is like a pretty short history. There isn't like a lot to it. Truthfully.
That's what I was gonna say. They've only been around for 11 years at this point, and like they don't have enough. They don't have enough time for the 5 pillars of the deep dive. Like there's no fire.
There's no fire.
There's no tax evasion.
No, it's not like the old school deep dive.
Yeah.
But I think it is a cool. I think the blending.
Yes.
To me, when you look at Jester King, huge deal for them for blending. It's a constant blending. New Belgium does the same thing. Their sour program, it's a huge blend. They have all those oak fooders, and it's a constant blending combination of fooders and different ages. It just like that is, if you have someone who on your staff that does that and does that to the level of these, that's where you create notoriety. That's where you create amazing beer. I mean, that's why it's so good, because you have these amazing blenders.
Yeah.
The beer you drink tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you get these like really super tasters, that's who's doing that, is these like all these sommeliers and stuff that are putting these beers together.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a different level.
And
it's cool because the high level tasters blending beers together, even though you and I are not high level tasters,
super tasters,
yeah, we still like appreciate how amazing it is, right? Like maybe we're not getting all the nuance, but it's very easy to recognize, like, oh yeah, this is it, right? This is where somebody who knew what they were doing put this together.
That makes sense.
So
yeah,
it's cool that it translates, even though I may not be a super taster. I still think the quality
following
translates.
the footsteps of super tasters.
Yeah.
Anyways, Corey King seems like a genius. His wife seems super supportive, which is really cool, and I think she plays a large part in the business as well.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Corey, we'll see you in 2028.
2020 what?
2028 for their 15-year anniversary.
Oh, gotcha.
We're strategically going to be there in mid-February.
Wait, is that what that was the plan? 2028?
Yeah.
January? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
We want to hit their
that far out. I thought you were talking about next January.
No, they just had their 10-year.
Gotcha.
So
they won't have an 11-year?
No, but like 15 is 15's a big deal.
Okay.
I think we should try to hit their 15-year.
Okay.
They're going to pull out all the big stops, and we're going to be right there on the ground floor.
And hopefully there's $10,000 worth of Ugandan vanilla bean in that one.
For us to drink. Yeah. All right. I think we're off the rails. Should we call it an episode?
Let's call it. Hey, can't wait to see you, buddy, next week.
Yeah, 1 week. Like 6 days at this point.
Yeah. Well, 1 week from today, 1 week from right now, we'll be hammered.
We'll be at Off Color. All right, cool. Well, this has been Attenuation. You can find us on Instagram at attenuation.podcast. Steven always does really cool reels. I'm always excited when they pop up. You can email us at contact.attenuation@gmail.com. But this has been episode 109 of Attenuation. And my name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend, the great Steven.
That's me.
And we're saying cheers, and we'll see you for episode 110.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Attenuation of Beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for more fun content. Catch you next time. Cheers!